month of Elul, correct?
Yes. Be'ezer Hashem.
Okay.
Recording in progress.
Okay, Beseder. Shukran for putting this together. So we're going to get right into the topic. So we want to talk about a little bit of Ahavas Hashem and its relevance to the oneness of Hashem and its relevance to the month of Elul, Chodesh HaTeshuvah, the month of Teshuvah. So if you look in Sefer Erechim, it begins with, when it talks about the Ahavas Hashem, it defines two important things. The number one understanding of Ahavas Hashem, the oneness of Hashem, which was understood throughout history for a long period of time. The Ahavas Hashem, the oneness of Hashem, means that there is only one power in the world. That there's one force. There's no other powers. There's no other forces in the universe. That's one level of Ahavas Hashem. That's one level of unity. The deeper level of Ahavas Hashem, which was revealed through Torah Yesod and later through Torah Chassidus, the deeper level of Ahavas Hashem means not only is there only one force, but there is only one. Period. There's only one. What does that mean? So there's two paradigms how to understand this. One is called the paradigm which is called Yichud Tata, lower unity, and one is the paradigm that's called Yichud Elo, which is upper unity. And this is really what the Alter Rebbe in Shar Yichud Lamuna, the whole foundation of Shar Yichud Lamuna is based. The Zohar, it says that Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. When we close our eyes and we say Hashem is one, this represents higher unity. This is an aspiration with our eyes closed, closing ourselves off from the world when we see it in its form of duality and separation. And Baruch Shem Kol Malchus Eloi Levad represents the oneness of Hashem that's revealed eternally throughout time, which is called the lower unity. And this is what the Alter Rebbe tries to explains in great detail throughout Shar Yichud. The basic structure and understanding the difference between these two levels of unity is that the lower unity, Yichud Tata, means that the world exists, that the Yesh, existence of the universe, is something that's real, something that has to be contended with. The sense of duality and separation of existence is a real reality. And creation's Yesh comes from, there's a recognition that the Yesh, the existence of reality, comes from Ayin. Now, Ayin generally is translated as nothing, but of course we don't mean this in the form of Ayin. We're saying that it's beyond our conception, beyond our understanding of what this is, and it's not a thing, so it cannot be quantified that way. So we call up, so us, for humans, from our perspective, where we look upwards, so to speak, or inwards, we say that the world is created from an Ayin to a Yesh, from non-existence, from non-materiality to existence, from unmanifest to manifest. So the Yesh, the existence, is what is real to us, and we know we're dependent on something that's higher. That's called Yichud Tata. Yichud Elo, upper unity, means that it's the inverse, that L'mayla Yesh, existence, true existence, ultimate existence is really above, inward. That's the truth of existence is the creator, is the source. And the manifestation of that, the creation of that, the lamata of that, the lower of that is the Ayin. And the reason why it's called Ayin is because in comparison to the ultimate Yesh, it's completely nullified to its source. So it's Ayin, the way the Alter Rebbe explains the Shar Yichud Lamuna, it's like, for example, the rays of the sun that's nullified to its source, the sun itself. So these are two perspectives. The Yesh is below, the Ayin is above, or the inverse, which is that the ultimate Yesh, ultimate existence, is above, and really existence is only Ayin. Now this actually translates as well into our relationship to creation in terms of our effects of our actions. If we say that the world, the paradigm of Yichud Tata, which means existence is Yesh, is true, and it exists, and it comes to mind, then our actions matter. Our deeds, our thoughts, the way we present ourselves and act in this world has an effect, not only on this world, but cosmically and in all spiritual universes. Which means that our actions, because the weight of our activity is real, because our Yesh is a true existence, therefore our actions truly matter. from the perspective of Yichudiyullah, from the perspective of upper unity, then because we're Ayin, we're nothing, in comparison to the ultimate Yesh. So in other words, we have no effect on the world because our actions really, in a sense, are meaningless from the perspective of the Yesh, because we're only just Ayin. The truth is, as explained, that when the pasuk says, when the verse in Shmuel says, "Kel Deus Hashem," Kel Deus Hashem means these are the two das, these are the two awareness, these are the two paradigms, which suggests that they're both Kel Deus, they're of Hashem, they're both truths in the mind kaviyachol of the Bible. And then the pasuk continues, "V'lo niskanu alinos." V'lo niskanu alinos means, and our actions are not measured. Now, "V'lo niskanu alinos," the word "v'lo" and "not" can be spelled "vav lamed aleph," which would mean "and not." It means our actions don't count. That's the ksiv. That's the way it's written. However, there's also the kri, which is the way we read it. Sometimes we read a word a little bit differently, even though it's pronounced in the same way, but it's read a little differently. But if you read it with the loy, vav lamed vav, then it doesn't mean and our actions are not measured, rather precisely the opposite, that our actions are measured. As Rashi writes, Kol ma'aseh adam nimnon lefonav. That means every single action that is done is counted in front of him. In other words, our actions matter very much. So the Kel Deus Hashem, these two paradigms, these two das, these two perspectives, which one is called das Elyon, the upper unity, and one is called das Tachta, which is the lower unity. From the upper unity, it's Veloy with an aleph. Our actions don't matter. From the lower unity, Veloy is with a vav, which our actions tremendously do matter. And Kel Deus, these two perspectives, which represent the Das Elyon and Das Tachta, the concern Ezekiel says, they're both simultaneously true. That they're both true. Our actions, in one hand, do matter and don't matter. Try to understand how that works. So when we say Kel Deus Hashem, this means that they're both emes. They're both truth. There's a mimer that's also brought down. So there's a mimer from the Tzemach Tzedek, where the Tzemach Tzedek writes that the word Aleph Lamed Vav Lamed, which is the letters of the word Elul. So there's a lot of different acronyms that Elul is connected with. And Tzemach Tzedek says that one of the acronyms that Elul, Aleph Lamed Vav Lamed, is that Elul is Loi Loi, meaning it's Loi with an Aleph Lamed, which is Loi, it's not. And it's also Lamed Vav, which is Loi, that it is. So Elul has both yes and a no. And he ties it to the pasuk, the Chotzerosim Loitzar. When the pasuk says in Yeshaya, the pasuk says that the Chotzerosim, all their troubles, the Loitzar. So Loi, again, can mean not, or can mean to him. So the Chotzerosim Loitzar, the way it's written, Chotzerosim Loitzar means in all our action, all our troubles, it doesn't matter to him. It's not trouble to him. That's the Loitzar. That's with an aleph. However, there's also the Chotzerosim Loitzar, which is the way Chazal read it, which is Kri, the way it's written, the way it's read is B'chol in all their troubles I also experience. Hashem saying, I also feel their trouble, I feel their pain. In all their hardship, I feel their pain. And that's what Chazal bring down, the idea of Shechinta B'Geluso, the idea that the Shekhinah is always present in our exile. That's the loitzar that Hashem says, I feel their pain. And any pain that they're experiencing, loitzar. So Elul has both the loy, which means I don't experience it, and the loy that I do experience it. So it says to Tzaddik, what does this mean? That in Elul, there's a revealing of the Yidimo Midas Arachim. There's a revealing of the 13 attributes of mercy. This is what the Alter Rebbe brings down in great length in the Torah Parshas Vay as well, that there's a revealing of the 13 attributes of mercy. The 13 attributes of mercy are connected to the realm of Keser. And the realm of Keser, particularly the realm of Keser, which is detached and transcendent, netak, that's transcendent of creation. And that's why the 13 attributes of mercy bring down forgiveness, because it's transcendent of our actions. So there's a revealing in Elul of the 13 attributes of mercy from the level of loy, which is our actions don't matter, so therefore we could be forgiven. And where is that revealed? Where is that transcendent light of Hashem being revealed? It's revealing specifically in the loitzar, in the place of our hardship, in the place of our tsar, the place of our constriction. And this is what the Alter Rebbe explains more in the Torah, that that's why in Elul, even though there's a revealing of the Yudim Bin Sarachim, of the 13 attributes of mercy, there's still, an Elul is still a time when it's Yimei Choil, it's the days of, it's secular days, it's not sacred time, it's not a Yom Tov. When there's a Yom Tov in the world, and there's a holiday, and when Shabbos comes along, what that means, what that represents, is that there's a revealing of a higher light that's coming down into this world. And because there's a revealing of this higher light, it cancels out the normative consciousness and the normative reality the way we exist normally. So if today is, let's say, a Tuesday, and it's a regular day, and then today is also the day that there is a revealing of Rosh Hashanah, a new light that comes down to this world of Rosh Hashanah. So therefore, there's a revealing of godliness that comes down that's transcendent of creation. And the way we have access to that transcendence is by stopping to be to receive. So we stop to be in our normative state in order to receive something from a higher state. This is what happens throughout the year and every Yom Tov. However, in Elul, it's a little bit different, because in Elul we say that there's a revealing of the 13 attributes of mercy, and it's specifically revealed in a place where it's still choil, where it's still mundane, where the revealing of the transcendence doesn't cancel out the duality, the separation. That's the unity between the Yichudei Law and the Yichudei Tata, the higher unity and the lower unity. Not that the higher unity cancels out the lower unity. When there's a higher revelation, it cancels out the lower revelation. But here we say that there's a simultaneous revealing of the upper and the lower together, which means that there's a revealing of a transcendent, where Hashem says, I'm transcendent of creation. Creation is just an Ayin, and I am the ultimate Yesh. There's a revealing of that light. But where is that light precisely revealed? In the space of our duality, of our separation, of our hardship, of the place of our sin. And that's why there's a forgiveness. So the Elul is a chibur, a unification between the upper, between the Aleph Lamed of Loi, and the Lamed Vav, which represents the revealing of the Lamed into the Vav, which is the idea of drawing it down, like the letter Vav, which means that it's being drawn down into the lower realm. So the transcendence is drawn down into the lower realm, and they simultaneously exist. This is what the month of Elul is. There's a very important mimer that the Rebbe said. It's called Pasach Eliyahu. It's 7 Tafshik Vav, and then it later was printed as a look at. It was moving, was edited by the Rebbe. It was Kislev Tafshik Aleph. And in that mimer, there's many different yisodos, very many foundations in terms of understanding the Achdus Hashem, many new revelations in terms of understanding the true unity of Hashem. And within the mimer, Pasach Eliyahu, there's an explanation that says, that's brought down from the Rebbe, saying that the idea of Shem Hashem, the name of Hashem, is connected to Das Elyon. I'll explain what that means. And the name Elokim is connected particularly to Das Tachton. So we know that in the Torah has many different names of God. And there's 7 Shem Hashem. We're talking there's 7 sacred names in the Torah. The ultimate name, which we call the Shem HaMeforesh, the name that is not pronounced, that is the Yud, Hey, and a Vav and Hey. Yud, Kei, Vav, Kei. These letters is the highest name of Hashem, and it represents the upper unity. It represents utter transcendence. Yud, Kei, Vav, Kei in general, the explanation is that Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey, and if you move around the letters, you can actually spell the word Haya, which is past tense, it was. Havel, which is present tense, it is, and Yeh, future tense, that it will be. Because the Vav eventually becomes a Yud, so you have two Yuds, which is past, present, and future, representing the idea of infinity and transcendence. This is the name of Hashem. This is why it's ineffable and it's not pronounceable, because by definition it's infinite and it can be quantified. So it's the root source of all existence. This infinity. This is the Ayin self, infinite light, is value connected to this name of Yud-Kei Vav-Kei. This is what we call the name of Hashem. The Torah also speaks about another prominent name of Hashem, and the Torah is the name Elokim. In the beginning of the Torah, for example, when it talks about creation, it says Bereshis bara Elokim. In the beginning, Elokim creates. Elokim, specifically, it could be translated as Lord, but the idea of Elokim represents power, force, Shvara. It represents also multiplicity. That's why it's not Elokah in the singularity, but Elokim, as Ukuzi writes, it's connected to the world of multiplicity. And then later the Kabbalim say, the part that Shimon brings down, and then later on the Kabbalim write, and it says a lot of times in Chassidus, that the idea of the name Elokim has the same numeric value as the word Hatava, nature. It's 86. So there is Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, which represents the name of Hashem of transcendence, of infinity, of transcendence, of absolute unity, the unity which is called Yichud La Unity. And the name Elokim represents the world of duality, of separation, of bar, of externalization. Bereshis bara Elokim, that Elokim creates creation. When we look at the world as creation as a base, Bereshis, the Torah starts with the letter Beis, which is two, which is a duality. We look at the world as a duality, as a separation, something that's sort of bar, externalized from its source. The world that we see, that we perceive, this is a camouflage of the name of Elokim. This is really what the name of Elokim is being revealed in this world. That's called the Das Tachton, where we understand existence to be, and that's real, and we are connected to a Bar Elokim, that the world was created from a creator. So the relationship between creation and creator is that we are created from a creator. So there's a sense of a separation. But when we say Kel Deis Hashem, that these are both true perspectives of the creator, that means that Bereshis bara Elokim is not a mirage, is not a fallacy. It's not just a conception that we don't see the world as it is, and therefore we perceive it this way. And really, the truth is, it's nothing. We're saying that the fact that the world exists as the Yesh of existence, the multiplicity of existence, was created by Hashem, and that is also a true existence. Now, the trueness of the existence is that the oneness of Hashem is refracted and revealed within the multiplicity of duality. So it's not that there's a separation, but there's actually a duality that is included within the unity of God, within the unity of Hashem. That's the merger between these both perspectives. So we look at the world and we say, I see a table and a chair. I can see this in two ways. I see this table as separate from its creator, knowing that it comes from the creator. Or I can say, I see the table and chair as a real table, and I know that is a manifestation of the essence of Hashem, we call the Atzmas of the essence of Hashem that's being revealed in the multiplicity and in the duality of separation of time and space and consciousness. Now, when we look at the word Bereshis bara, when we look at the word that Hashem created, we have to also understand that that word suggests past tense, right? Bereshis bara Elokim. Elokim, from the perspective of Elokim, from the perspective of the natural universe, the world of perceived as duality and separation, creation was created in past tense. Past tense means there was a creation, and Hashem created the world, and therefore it's in past tense. That's one way of looking at the word. That's a bara. From the perspective of Hashem, which in that mimer, the Pasuk Yod, rather connects the idea of Avaya and Elokim to the concept of miracles and nature. So what does miracles do? Miracles is the violation of nature, so to speak, which shows that if you perceive the sun to rise at every morning at this particular time, because that's predicted. Why is it predicted? Because that happened yesterday. because of past tense, what does a miracle do? A miracle defies that and says, well, maybe today the sun is not going to rise, or maybe it's going to take longer to set. Shemesh begin going. So what the miracle does, it reveals that there actually is no past tense. That Hashem is actually a mechadif and Hashem is recreating the world at every single moment. So from the perspective of Elohim, it appears as if the world was bara, it was created in past tense. And the aspect of Yichud Ilah, when it's in unification with Yichud Ilah, with the lower unity, it reveals the hischachus atmimus, the eternal ever unfolding of creation, the eternity of the moment. That this moment is actually being manifest in this present moment right now. This is what is connected to Yud Kei Vav Kei. Yud Kei Vav Kei is infinity. But Yud Kei Vav Kei is also the letters Yud, Hey, Vav, and Hey. If you take them and you divide them, it says Yud, which is the first letter, and then it says Hoiva. So Yud, Hoiva. Yud, generally, when you place a letter Yud before the word, it actually makes it into something that's continuous. This is what Walter writes also in Shayach Lamuna. That when the word, instead of asa, it becomes yasa, which means continuous unfolding. The Yud of Hashem, which means the Yud Kei Vav Kei represents the unfolding, the eternal unfolding of the present, because there's a recreation in every moment. And it's not in the past tense, Bereshis bara Elohim, that Hashem created in past tense. But it's the experience and the way we understand it would be that it's continuously being unfolded in this very moment. So that's the schachas abriya. That's the renewal of creation. Remember, we're trying to understand that both these perspectives are simultaneously true. That there's an element within creation, within the truth of creation. Not in the facade or the mirage, that it's not really consistent, it's not really true. There's a way that the world is perceived in the Chaldeus, in the mind of Hashem, as something that's created in past tense, and there's a perspective of creation the way it exists in present tense. And they're both simultaneously true. So in the world generally, there are three basic conceptions. There's Olam Shana Nefesh, which means space, time, and consciousness. Now, space we know. We know that when the Torah speaks about creation, it speaks about the creation of space. Creation of Bali Kilos Shemayim V'Sa'ar. It's created, heavens and earth was created. Where is Zaman? Where is the element of time? So this, the Magid brings down, after brings down Shem Magid, that Zman, the Rashis, is the creation of, when it says Rashis, that's beginning, that's the creation of the beginning. That the first creation, before there is the creation of space, there's a creation of time. Because time is the ability that gives rise to the possibility of space. Time is sort of like the backdrop that gives allowance for time. In the realm of time, time in Hebrew is called Zman. Zayin Mem Nun. Now, Zayin Mem Nun is also connected to two names of Hashem. In the Yud Kei Vav Kei, the names of Hashem are spelled different ways and can be filled out different ways. And the two lower names are connected to Ma, Shem Ma, the name of Ma, and the name of Ban. If you look in the Pasuk of Yod, literally from the Zohar, where it talks about, where you say this Erev Shabbos, it talks about these two names. What is the difference between Ma and Ban? Ma is generally connected to something that's more transcendent, and Ban will be connected to something that's more immediate. Sometimes it says that Ma represents the neshama, and Ban represents the body. Ma represents the person, the human. That's why Ma is the same numeric value as Adam. And Behema is connected to Ban, which is 52, which has the same numeric value as animal. So man is connected to 45, which is Ma, which is what? And Ban is created, Behema, an animal, is connected to the name of Ban. Together, 45. And 52 is 97, which is the word Zman. So let's try and understand how what this means in terms of what we're talking about. Is that there's one way to look at the world, which is we're looking from the world from the perspective of Ma. Ma is what? What means I don't know. That's what the koyach Ma. That's it's Ayin. The potential of what, which is I don't know yet how it's unfolding, but I'm open to the wonder to the anticipation, to the aliveness of what's going to be revealed in the new moment. That's the perspective of Ma. That's what it means to truly be a human being, to be connected to the name Ma. What is the idea of a behemoth, an animal? Not that we have anything against animals, but just to understand it's a little bit of an animal. As an animal, Chazal say, Shor ben Yom Nikra Shor. And an animal, from the moment it's born, it's already considered its development. Which means a behemoth is Boma. But a behemoth means someone that swallowed its what. Swallowed its what means that they're living just in the immediate present of what's right now, with no opportunity, no openness for what can unfold in the future. This is why Zman, Tzemach Tzedek explains in Derech Mitzvah, and it's explained many times, that the idea of Zman is moti v'loy moti. It's a type of movement that's touching and going. It's moving and returning, which means it's presenting something, and it's also presenting something that will unfold in the future. These are the two understandings where we can relate to time. We can relate to time from the perspective of that the past imprints the present, which affects the future, which is a linear form of relationship to time. And therefore, what we do in the past affects inevitably to who we are in the present. And time is what we'll call, like we said, the Bereshis Bar Lakim, that Hashem created Bereshis Bar, which is past tense, which means we're relating to time from the perspective where there's a past tense. There's a past, and therefore I'm related to the measurement of time in the past tense, and now I'm in the present. Or I'm open to the Ayin aspect, the Ma aspect of time, the infinite aspect of time, which is a constant revealing of something that's this constantly unfolding of something that's manifesting, something that's new. And these two perspectives of time is really connected to the work of Teshuvah. And that's why it goes back to what the Mimer said, that Elul, the name of Elul, is connected to loy v'loy, to that our actions have an effect, our actions do not have an effect. Which we said the loy v'loy is related to the original loy v'loy, which killed Hashem, which is yichudei lo yichud tata, upper unity and lower unity. Our actions do have an effect, our actions do not have an effect. The potential to do tshuva, that we can change our past, that we can break from our past actions. Not only can we break from our past actions and begin anew, but we can transform retroactively our past actions. That's doinas nasal kizachias, that things that we've done intentionally negative. When we do tshuva on a very high level of ava, of love, we can transform our past into merits. That comes because of the ayin of the moment. That comes because from the perspective of the yichudei ilah aspect of creation, which is that lamayla yesh, above is the ultimate existence, and we are just an extension of Ayin, we're nothing. And then the Ayin is constantly unfolding and becoming now a Yesh, but it's just Ayin. So we're connected to the Ayin aspect of time. Therefore, when Chazal speak about the element of Teshuvah, so the Gemara says in Psachim that Teshuvah is Kodim L'Olam, is one of the things that were created before creation. What is the depth of what that means? It means that it comes from a place that's beyond creation, beyond time. Because in the world, the way we describe time, where the past inevitably affects the present, and because that inevitably affects the future, there is no possibility to change. Because what we did yesterday, we can't undo. It's impossible to undo our past. You can't go backwards in time. In the conception, the way we understand time, you can't go backwards in time, or else you defeat time. But if in the conception of time, what happened yesterday, you can't undo that. That's from the perspective of the Yesh of time, where there is Bereshis Bara, there's a past tense and there's a present tense, and therefore moving forward. So what gives us the ability to actually connect to Teshuvah, to change our life, is the connection to the name of Hashem, is the connection to the Yichudei Ilah, to the miraculous part of creation, which is the unpredictability of creation, where I don't know what tomorrow is going to be born. Maybe the sun is going to rise. Maybe Hashem has another desire. Maybe the sun won't rise. That's what the miracle tells me. The miracle tells me, don't define things the way you perceived it, the way it was, because it happened yesterday, therefore it's going to happen tomorrow. Just because I did this action yesterday doesn't mean I'm going to do the same thing tomorrow. I can completely transform myself. That's the Ayin element of time. But we also need the Yesh element of time. That's why Elul is the unity between Yichud Ilah and Yichud Ilah, between the upper unity and the lower unity. Because if I only live from the perspective of the revealing that's being revealed in the present moment, of the newness that's being recreated at this present moment, why should I take responsibility for my past? If every moment is a brand new moment, and every single moment is a new recreation, so what I did yesterday doesn't exist, because now is a brand new moment. So why would I even take responsibility for my past? So the answer is because there's also the element of time. There's also Yichud Tata, which is real. Yichud Tata it's not a screen. It's actually a reality. So from the level of Yichud Tata, I take responsibility for my life. I say the actions that I did yesterday, I'm fully responsible because I'm a continuation of my past. That's from the perspective of the Bar Elokim. That's the perspective of the Yichud Tata. But what allows me to transform, so the responsibility element, and the reason why I do tshuva, the impetus to do tshuva, is because Yichud Tata, because of the lower unity. But the possibility to do tshuva is because of Yichud Love, because of the upper unity. And therefore, the Kel Deus is both simultaneously true, and that's why specifically it's revealed to us that in the month of Elul, which is the Avodah, which is the work of tshuva, the ultimate idea of the tshuva is to maintain these paradoxical paradigms. The paradigm that every single moment is a brand new experience, a new moment, and therefore I can do tshuva for anything. I can recreate the past because every moment is infinite, and therefore I can even go backwards. And then on the other hand, I recognize that my past actually has an effect on the present, and therefore I take full responsibility for the actions that I've done today. And that's the ultimate unity between these two things. And this is what later in the Minor, in the Apostle Leo, he talks about this idea of the yichud between this one and many other Maimorim, the idea of that before creation there's only infinity. There's only the koyach ein sof. Post creation, there's the koyach hagvul that's being revealed. The potential of the finitude is being revealed. But ultimately, there has to be a yichud of the pratim, of the detail, of the specifics, of the context of infinity, and one doesn't cancel out each other. Prior to creation, prior to the tzimtzum, we say that there is a koyach hagvul even in the Ein Sof. There was a Hashem sheyesh lo koyach hagvul, kach yesh lo koyach hagvul. Just like Hashem has a potential to express infinity, same thing also Hashem has a potential to express finitude. Otherwise, we say that you're not complete. Hashem has both those powers. But prior to tzimtzum, because it was such a great revealing of infinity, finitude was lost in the magnitude and the majesty of infinity. What the tzimtzum did, what the contraction did, what creation did, gave the allowance for the appearance of koyach hagvul, of the potential of finitude, of the creation of things that seem in dualistic and separated. And then the ultimate would be to reveal within the finitude, within the dimensionality, within the physicality, to reveal its connection to infinity. And the way we can do that, the way that could be revealed, is through the koyach atzmos, the revelation of the essence of the Creator. Because the essence of the Creator is not infinite and not finite. Finitude is, of course, a limitation, but so is infinity. If we say Hashem is this infinite, that by definition means that we're quantifying Hashem and saying that's what you are. You're only infinity. But Hashem is not infinity, and Hashem is not finitude. Hashem is larger in the context that is connected to both finitude and infinity. And this is what the Torah Chassidus, this is what one of the big revelations of Torah Chassidus, especially in the Rebbe's Torah, that was revealed about this idea of the koyach ha'atzmiyus, the potential of the essence that's being revealed. And besides of course, the understanding, the conception of the idea, that we have to understand and live with this in our mindset, ultimately we have to live with it in our experience. Because Chassidus ultimately is not a philosophy, it's not a theology, it's a way of living. That we have to take the Torah of Chassidus and we have to understand this in our own life. What does it actually mean to see the koyach ha'atzmiyus in our own self? And we see that in our own self. We're a body and we're a soul. And we have to recognize that both these mediums, We're not just the soul, so therefore we neglect the body, and we're certainly not just the body, therefore we indulge in the body. We recognize that Hashem's presence is being revealed when we create a symphony and a harmony between our body and our soul, between our spirit and our consciousness. And we can create that unity within eternity on a personal level, on an avoidant level, on a level of actually experiential, and we truly bring down a revealing and create a derech tachtonim. So then we should hope that we should do a Teshuvah Shleima. We should be able to be zeichet to merit to actually have a true Teshuvah. And the Nisker, we should send something down the matter, we should create as Hashem, see, also about Seyachna, we should be Nekro, and we should only see good things, because Hashem, we get to Rosh Hashanah. We should see the glory to Sashem.
Recording stopped.
Okay, thank you so much, Rav Pinson. That was phenomenal. That was deep. That was very deep stuff.